As for you, human being, take a clay slab, lay it down in front of you, and draw it on the city of Jerusalem. Show it under siege, build towers against it, raise earthworks against it, set up camps against it, and surround it with battering rams. Then take an iron griddle and put it in a place as a wall of iron between yourself and the city, and fix your gaze on it. The city is under siege, and you are the one besieging it. This one will be a sign for the house of Israel. Next, you are to lie on your left side and have it bear the guilt of the house of Israel. For as many days as you lie on your side, you will bear their guilt. For I am assigning you 1 day for each year of their guilt. Thus, you are to bear the guilt of the house of Israel for 390 days. Then, when you have finished that, you are to lie on your side and bear the guilt of the house of Yehuda for 40 days. Each day corresponds to a year. This is what I'm assigning you. You are to fix your gaze on the siege of Jerusalem. With your arm bared, prophesy against it. I'm tying you down with ropes, and you are not to turn from one side to the other until you have completed the days of your siege. Take wheat, barley, beans, lentils, millet, and buckwheat. Put them together in one bowl and make bread from it. For as long as you lie on your side 390 days, this is what you are to eat. Each day the food you eat must weigh only 3/4 of a pound. You may eat it from time to time during the day. You are also to drink a limited amount of water, 2/3 of a quart. You may drink it from time to time during the day. The bread you eat is to be baked like barley cakes. You are to bake it before their eyes, using human dung as fuel. Adonai said, "This is how the people of Israel will eat their food, unclean, in the nations where I'm driving them." I objected. "No, Adonai Elohim, I have never defiled myself. From my youth until now, I have never eaten anything that died by itself or was killed by wild animals. No such disgusting food has ever entered my mouth." He answered, "All right, I will give you cow dung instead of using a human dung. You are to prepare your bread on it." He then said to me, "Human being, I am going to cut off the supply of bread in Jerusalem, so that they will be anxiously weigh out bread to eat and horrified, rationed water to drink. Finally, due to the lack of bread and water, they will stare at each other in shock, wasting away because of their guilt. Now you, human being, take a sharp sword and use it like a barber's razor to shave your head and beard. Then weigh the hair on a balance scale and divide it up. 1/3 of it you are to burn in the city when the day of the siege are over. Take another 1/3 of it, hit it with your sword all around the city. Scatter the last 1/3 to the wind. I will pursue them with drawn sword. Also take a few hairs and tie them up for the folds of your garment. Again, of these take some, throw them in the fire, and burn them up. From there a fire will come out against the entire house of Israel. Here is what Adonai Elohim says. This is Jerusalem. I have placed her in the middle of the nations. Countries can be found all around her, but she has rebelled against my rulings and committed wickedness more than the nations, against my laws more than the countries around her, because they have rejected my rulings and not lived according to my laws. Therefore, here is what Adonai Elohim says: because you have outdone the nations around you by not living according to my laws or following my rulings or even following the rules of the nations around you, therefore here is what Adonai Elohim says: I too am against you. Yes, I will execute judgment among you while all the nations look on. Moreover, because of your disgusting practices, I will do things to you that I have never done before, and I will never do such things again. Parents among you will eat their children. Children will eat their parents. I will execute judgment among you and scatter to all the winds of those who remain. For as I live, says Adonai Elohim, because you defiled my sanctuary with all your detestable things and disgusting practices, therefore I swear that I will cut you off. My eyes will not spare. I will have no pity. A third of you will die from plague, or be consumed by famine inside Jerusalem. A third of you will fall by sword around Jerusalem. And a third of you I will scatter on all the winds and pursue with the sword. In this way my anger will spend itself. My fury against them will die down, and I will be satisfied. Then, when I have spent my fury on them, they will know that I, Adonai, have spoken out of my zeal. I have made you a ruin and an object of reproach among the nations around you in the sight of all passing by. When I execute judgments and furious punishments among you in anger and fury, Jerusalem will be an object of reproach, derision, and horror, and a lesson to warn the nations around you. I, Adonai, have announced it. I will send upon them the deadly, destructive arrows of famine, which I will send to destroy you. I will make you the famine worse for you by cutting off your food supply. Yes, I will send famine and savage beasts upon you to leave you without children. Plague and bloodshed will sweep through you, and I will bring the sword upon you. I, Adonai, have spoken it. The word of Adonai came to me, human being, face toward the mountains of Israel and prophesy against them. Mountains of Israel, hear the word of Adonai Elohim. Here is what Adonai Elohim says about the mountains, hills, ravines, and valleys. I myself will bring a sword against you and destroy your high places. Your altars will be wrecked and your pillars for sun worship broken. I will throw down your slain ones in front of your idols. I will lay the corpses of the people of Israel in front of their idols and scatter your bones all around your altars. Everywhere you live, the cities will be destroyed and the high places wrecked, so that your altars can be destroyed and wrecked and your idols broken and abolished. Your pillars for sun worship cut down and things have made wiped out. The slain will fall among you, and you will know that I am Adonai. Nevertheless, I will leave a remnant, some who will escape the sword among the nations, when you have been scattered throughout the countries. Those of you who escape will remember me among the nations where they have been exiled. How broken I have been over their whoring hearts that left me, over their eyes that went whoring after their idols. They're going to loathe themselves for all the evil days they committed in their disgusting practices. Then they will know that I am Adonai. It isn't for nothing that I said I would bring this calamity upon them. Here is what Adonai Elohim says. Strike with your hand and stamp with your foot and bemoan all the terrible, disgusting practices of the house of Israel. For they will fall by sword, famine, and plague. Those far away will die from the plague. Those nearby will fall by the sword, and whoever stays as besieged will die from famine. This is how I will spend my fury on them. You will know that I am Adonai when their slain men are lying among their idols around their altars on every high hill, on every mountaintop, under every green tree, under every thick pistachio tree, wherever they offered sweet-smelling sacrifice to appease their idols. I will stretch out my hand over them and make the land wherever they lie into a desolate waste worse than Divlat Desert. And they will know that I am Adonai.